Hey guys, how is everybody doing? So last night we got episode 4 of The Last of Us Season 2 titled Day 1, which is adapting the whole Day 1 section of The Last of Us Part 2, which is a very long section, which somehow they were able to cut it down to an hour episode. But yeah, so this is episode 4, and like I said, this is the episode that tries to adapt uh the Day 1 story in The Last of Us Part 2, and this episode picks up right after Ellie and Dina leave to go to Seattle, and they were hell and one of a hell of adventure that we're about to go on with these two throughout Seattle, and we're already going through it. Which I was really anticipating this episode because the Day 1 story that you go through in The Last of Us Part 2 is probably one of the most entertaining parts of that game because it's the first day you're in Seattle and you're still kind of finding your way around and stuff like that, and you're still trying to find out where Abby and her friends might be. And so I always really enjoyed that section of the game, so I was really intrigued to see how they were going to adapt it into the episode, and especially since that's like a really big chunk of the game. That's like maybe like 3 or like 3.5 hours full of the game, maybe right there. So I was really interested to see what they were gonna do to do this, and I honestly feel like the summary, I guess I could call it, of that story that we got in this, I thought they did really good. But where this episode picks up is we pick up 11 years before this story starts, and we pick up with these Fedra soldiers, so where they're driving around, they're having this conversation, stuff like that. They're talking about how they took away voters' rights to vote, basically, and so they call civilians voters to mock them, as Isaac says, which I will get to soon. And that's where we pick up with the episode, is where we meet Isaac, which Isaac is the leader of the wolf, this wolf thing or whatever. I guess you could call him a cult or this this band of people, I guess, and he's the leader of it. And what I loved of what they did with this show, and what I loved that when they immediately announced it, is that the person that played Isaac in The Last of Us Part 2 actually reprises his role to play him in here. I forget his name. Jeffrey Wright. No, I did not just look that up on my phone. What are you talking about? Jeffrey Wright, who is a amazing actor and who I bust know him as Commissioner Gordon in the Batman. That's how I got introduced to him. I'm sorry, I'm not a big Jeffrey Wright guy, but I do like him. And I thought it was awesome that when they said that they were gonna bring him back to play Isaac again in the TV show adaptation, because Isaac is a character that is an okay character. He's not fully developed. We don't really know anything about him in the game. We just know that he's the leader of the wolves, basically. And we don't really know much. I think what really carried that character for me and why I was so interested in him is because Jeffrey Wright played him. The fact that he took time out of his own schedule to play a character in a video game, that just shows how much I love Jeffrey Wright. Like I said, I don't watch him much, but the stuff I have seen him in, I absolutely love him in. And so I was really excited to see him come back and play Isaac, and oh my god, does he do just as good as he did in that video game. And he wasn't even in the video game much because obviously he's an actor. He's probably not going to do stuff like that all the time. But what we do get of him in the game, I thought was pretty good and was enjoyable. But in this, he's just awesome. I do think it's weird that they are introducing him this early into the show because we don't really get introduced to Isaac until we follow Abby's story. We don't even know who Isaac is until we follow Abby's story. So I thought it was weird that they decided to do that now, which I'm not against it. We are going to be getting season 3 of this show, which is going to be continuing to adapt part 2, which I'm assuming is going to be mostly Abby's story if they play their cards right, and or maybe we'll see more of Isaac in that. But I am interested to see what they're going to do with him. I think that this is all we're going to see of him as of right now. But yeah, I thought it was weird that they introduced him so early, but I am glad to see him, mainly because of Jeffrey Wright. And I thought his performance was brilliant, especially the scene where he's torturing one of the Scars or Seraphites to try to find out information on when the next attack is, and he's just torturing him while he's butt naked, chained to the fucking wall. And he's just like, and he goes on this weird ramble of how, like, when he was younger, he was never good at talking to girls, but one thing he was good at was cooking for them. And then he goes into detail about like how the copper on those skillets, they heat up faster because it's copper. It's a hell of a, it's not good to clean them because it's going to take a while, but the copper itself heats up pretty damn good. And then he literally takes it as he's saying, and he's heating it up, and he goes up to him and goes, "When's your next attack?" And he refuses to tell him, and he goes, "Hold out your hand." And like he is not even asking, like he seems to be asking kind of politely, but he's like more demanding. And like he just says it so calmly, and he just doesn't. He just burns his hand, and he just wants information out of him, and he's like kind of messing with him. He's just like, "Oh, we're the bad guys. You're the one that shot and killed children, and we're the bad guys." And they go on this whole rambs like, "Well, you started this." Basically, that whole scene just shows why I love Jeffrey Wright and why him as Isaac is absolutely terrifying in my mind. I am hoping we get to see more of him in this season. Maybe we will further down the line. I We'll see, I guess. But if we do get to see him more, I will be very happy with that because I really do love him in this role, and he's very terrifying, and he's just really enjoyable. And I thought that he was easily the best part of this episode, in my opinion. So yeah, I thought it was awesome to see Jeffrey Wright come back and play Isaac again. He was absolutely terrifying, and in the scenes that he has, they're very short, but they are pretty good. And I'm hoping we get to see him again. But if this is the final time we see him as of right now, I thank Jeffrey Wright for taking the time to do this character again. And I'm just hopeful. I'm just hopeful because I want to see more of him. But moving on from Isaac, like I said, this is adapting the day one section in The Last of Us Part 2 to where we pick up with Ellie and Dina to where they're riding through Seattle, and then we pick up with Dina to where she finds a pregnancy test, and which in the game, we find out that Dina is pregnant, and it's Jesse's, obviously, because those two were a thing. And so, like, she kind of takes pregnancy test, and she doesn't tell Ellie until towards the end of the episode, which I'll get to soon. And so they're kind of just riding around, and then and so they kind of try to settle down until nighttime until because they see this whole building with Wolf on it, and so they want to wait till nighttime so they don't get spotted. And then they recreate one of my favorite moments in The Last of Us Part 2, and it's not even part of the story. This is literally a part of the game you can miss, but if you're like me and you explore everywhere in The Last of Us and you explore every nook and cranny to find items like I do, then you will definitely find this sequence. But I will admit, when I first played The Last of Us, I was not like that way. I did not play games like that. I was just straightforward. I'm like, fuck items, just go. So I did miss this section when I first played the game, but the other two times I played it, I got this part of the section, and I was happy. And that is when Ellie finds a guitar and starts playing Take On Me, which why I love that scene so much in the game is it's this great bonding moment with Ellie and Dina, and it's just like a moment to like let's just calm down for a moment. There's not a lot of happiness in the world that we live in. It's all death, it's all misery, it's all just depression basically. But that scene it has this moment to where there's still hope in the world, even when you're down in the dumps, even when the world is like this and people are literally killing each other, you can stop and have a moment like this and just have a very small, peaceful moment. And it also just shows how much Ellie kind of misses Joel too, to where where she's playing a song and literally after she's done, she goes, "Yeah, Joel taught me a lot," which is something they kind of talked about at the end of the first game, where Joel's just like, "When we're done with this, maybe I'll teach you to play guitar." And then that in the beginning of the game in this season, we show that Joel did teach her, and that it just shows how much she does miss Joel because we didn't see her play guitar while Joel was alive, and now that he's dead, that's a way to remember Joel or to make it kind of feel like he's still there and where he's still in the room with them kind of and his spirit is kind of watching them in a way. I love that moment just for the bonding moment between Ellie and Dina, which is just a very good moment in my opinion. And just Bella Ramsey, she does a beautiful job at recreating this moment. I know there's that whole controversy where everybody hates her for the way she looks and like literally I've literally seen people on Twitter say they refuse to watch this show just because of what Bella Ramsey looks like. I think that is an absolute joke of people to say, which is like I don't understand why a look of an actress should stop you from watching a show or enjoying a show because one, that does not matter to me, and two, I don't care what what the person fucking looks like. All I care about is their performance. And Bella Ramsey has been killing it as Ellie, and this episode just further proves it because she beautifully recreated the moment of singing the "Take on Me" on the guitar, and it looked like she actually played the guitar. I might be mistaken, but it looked like she took lessons to do that, and so I love what Bella Ramsey has been doing with the character of Ellie. And so, for those of you saying you don't want to watch it because Bella Ramsey is Ellie or the way she looks or whatever, then it's a joke. I truly believe that you're a joke and that you're a fucking idiot because that should not matter for an actor to just say that. To say that because of what an actor looks like. That does not matter to me. All I care is about the performance, and Bella Ramsey has been killing that. moving on from that, we do get to nighttime and we get to see the moment where Dina and Ellie go into this TV station or something. I don't think it's a TV station. I forget what it is in the game or in the show. It's the same fucking thing. And then we go in, and then they also create beautifully created the moment where there's a bunch of dead bodies hanging around in the room with a bunch of guts spilling, like all their guts just like literally hanging out of their body, where they literally got their fucking guts taken out of them. I thought they brought that out. They brought that to light pretty good as well. And what I thought was creepy about that is when I was watching it, I'm like, oh, those are obviously like dummies that they use behind the scenes. I don't think they use real people. Nope, they used real fucking people. They got real people and hung them up there safely and put fake organs on them. Like that is absolutely terrifying to me. Like they said they did it to make it more realistic. I was like. Awesome. I love the dedication there, but I thought you could have just done a dummy there for the fucking safety of those people, you could have just done dummies. Like, you did not need to do real people. And that kind of creeped me out. I'm like, why are you having real fucking people hang themselves, dude? But whatever. I thought that was really creepy. And I also, this is just another small little moment here that I liked about this. And, it just shows how much I played the game. Is that there's literally a moment where Ellie is sneaking around and stealthing like you do in the game, and she kills someone just how you stealth kill someone, where she like grabs them from behind and stabs them in the neck. Like that small little moment of like paying homage to the sneaking sequences in those games. I thought that was just like, yep, they did this perfectly. I love what they're doing here. So again, that small little moment, and after all of that, after the wolves kind of chase them out of that building, they get into this train station. And again, another moment they recreated from the game pretty well, to where a bunch of infected show up, and to where there's a bunch of wolves down there looking for Dina and Ellie, and then a shit ton of infected come in to take them out. And again, I gotta give kudos to the VFX workers and everybody that helped bring the infected to life this season, because that whole sequence was awesome. You can tell that they are CGI. There's one moment where like a clicker goes up to a window and it looked like it was pretty CGI because it had this weird outline around its forehead. So yeah, and like again, I can forgive it for that because there's like a lot of infected and it probably would take you a shit ton of money to put a bunch of prosthetics on every single person and to get a lot of people to come in and play those actors. But yeah, play those infected characters. But I got to give kudos to them because they have done an outstanding job throughout this entire season with episodes 2 and 4 now with all the infected, and they definitely did not lie to us saying that's like, oh, there's going to be more infected. They just watch this season. There's going to be more. If you were bothered by that in the first season, you're not going to be bothered by that in the second season. They have not disappointed because they have been awesome. And then we get to a moment to where I was really wondering how they were going to recreate this moment from the game, and that is Dina finding out that Ellie is immune to the infection. Because in the game, they have this thing called spores, to where it's like an air infection. If you breathe it in, you're gonna get infected, and so they have to wear gas masks. And in the game, Ellie breaks her mask, and she's breathing in the spores, and she's showing Dana like, "I'm not infected. We gotta go. They're about to kill us, so we gotta run." But in the show, which I kind of thought was predictable, was that Dina is about to get bit by an infected, but then Ellie moves her arm in front of her and gets bitten. And after that, there's tensions between them because Dina thinks that Ellie is going to turn and thinks that she has to shoot her best friend in the face, basically. And so Ellie's like, I'm gonna go over there. I'm gonna bandage it up. You're gonna watch me sleep. I guarantee when I wake up, I'm gonna be the same. I'm not gonna change. I'm not gonna be infected. I'm gonna be the same old Ellie. Nothing's gonna be different. And then Ellie does prove to her because she wakes up in the middle of the night and she proves to Dina, I'm not infected. And Dina believes her. And that's the moment where Dina decides to tell Ellie that she is pregnant. And after what happens there, I thought was very bad timing, in my opinion, because there is a moment in the game to where Dina and Ellie have sexual intercourse, and it's very early in the game. It's like before Joel dies. And I was like wondering because when they didn't do that early, I was like, so when is that gonna happen? Because I know they're gonna do it, but I felt like they did it at the worst timing because they literally like Dina just found out Ellie is immune to this fucking infection. And Ellie just found out that she's pregnant, and so they both decide to have sex, just like right there and then after everything that's happened. Okay, okay, like I don't think it's the perfect time to do it, but whatever, you do you. I'm not gonna tell you what to do. But overall, I really enjoyed this episode. I really enjoyed day one of The Last of Us season two. I thought they did this story pretty well, and it just shows you how much they were able to simplify that because again, that's a huge section in that fucking game. But yeah, I really enjoyed this episode. I really enjoyed this. This was a vast improvement from episode 3, which was just more an episode of grief, if anything. But I really enjoyed this episode. I'm really excited to see where we're going to go from here. I'm really excited to see some more of the changes that they're going to make. So I'm really enjoying the show so far. I'm really enjoying this adaptation. But let me know what you guys thought about episode 4 down in the comments below, and we shall talk about it. If you like this video, like it. If you love to subscribe to the bell notification so you'll get notified for all my latest videos. And of course, until my next video, see you all next time.